I think molds are great as directional signage, but I don't think that matching yourself to a master copy of something and say, because in a lot of law, it's a very high expectation level, and then you want to be able to achieve above it. So you're using these kind of always kind of going up expectations. That doesn't always work. And then you're not as nimble to move it around. So if you have this master agreement idea, like this is what we should be doing, we should be getting the most for the least. That might not be the answer. The answer might be completely a left turn and move away from it. You have to be nimble, whether you're building something with your hands or whether you're solving problems with your brain or whatever. You have to be nimble. And especially this is going to make nimble people
21st century.
Be fine. But people who aren't as nimble and are very, very rigid, they're not going to be able to accommodate, and they're going to be left behind.
Yeah. Just the ability to be able to move is a huge advantage in today's times. Go where the work is.
Did you feel like moving a lot around as a kid disrupted your feeling about space, about like being placed?
Oh yeah, definitely.
Like being in something. Ray's does rock.
Yeah. By the way, Ray's Delicatessen and Tavern, established in 1947 across the street from Hermanson's Hall. Is that Ray or something?
1947? Ray Hermanson?
No, Hermanson's Hall.
No,
I took a dance class, swing class over there once.
Did you really?
Yeah.
I used to be into square dancing.
Oh.
Yeah,
I wouldn't have put that on you.
No, Nebraska thing.
Okay.
It was one of the classes that you could take for like school.
Oh, is that where you went to school in Nebraska?
Yeah, so I grew up in Nebraska and then I moved to Chicago after college.
So you're a Cornhusker or?
No. It's a
something else?
Conversation killer.
Okay.
If I was a Cornhusker, it's illegal to be a fan of the football team and then leave the state. No, it's not. That's
why I've never met a Cornhusker fan.
Probably. No, and it's just that there are times in which the football team dictates mood in everybody's life, and that seemed to be not something I wanted to sign up to. Yeah,
so healthy.
You and I both know, rabid Giants fans, and I'm
my wife's a Dodger fan, by the way.
Really?
Yeah.
Did you file papers this morning then for that?
No, I'm an A's fan, so I don't have a big stake in the.
Are they going to move or not? What's going on?
The A's?
Yeah,
eventually.
It's got to be an empty home now.
Oh, the Coliseum. It's like it's a cathedral. The Oakland Coliseum. It's a concrete structure of. Yeah, it's kind of an eyesore. Who knows? I hope they build a park down in Jack London Square. It'd be fantastic.
Yeah.
Jack London Square is great.
I think that Oakland has had.
There's a revival in Oakland right now.
But there's also there's a lot of things like that. Like Oakland has a pride in a certain way, and if they keep losing sporting teams,
the working class identity of Oakland.
But it's so much more than that.
Yeah.
But I think if you keep losing like a sport team, like that can really mess with the psyche.
The Oakland,
and they've had two
more so than any place in the Bay Area, is multicultural in a way that other places aren't. And multicultural, not in that there's several different cultures, but all the cultures have blended together.
See, I think you say that, and the thing that Chicago segregated completely.
Oh, really?
Oh, yeah. And so you live in neighborhoods and that defines you. I wrote an article once about like your zip code is your identity in Chicago. And
oh, wow.
It totally is. And,
Oakland, interracial marriages. And I'm talking about any race you can think of. Everybody's married to everybody. There's,
Also, there's an economic need to find housing. And I felt when I moved to San Francisco, the thing you learn is it's not so much as a conscious effort to blend communities together. It's that everybody's stacked on top of each other because you just live where you can afford to live. And that, sure, that means that there might be a higher density. I don't think that San Francisco is necessarily completely blended, or Oakland for that matter. There's definitely a separation and whatever. That's just a way it plays out.
Right.
But it's not an active separation until you get to the further out suburbs where it's very much more kind of monotone in culture broadly.
Right.
And some people love that. I have friends who live in the suburbs that say, hey, yeah, sure, I'm not getting all the crazy things on the side, but I'm really enjoying a great life.
It's pretty boring too.
You mean in the suburbs or in the city?
Yeah. No, in the suburbs sometimes,
I don't know. Sometimes
we have who said it? Bill Nye the Science Guy. Everybody knows something that you don't.
Well, the thing that I do not like about the suburbs is that originally it was this idea where you could have these like safer neighborhoods in which people would engage. And what I've noticed is that you don't really have that.
The engaging didn't happen.
No. And so people, they might know their neighbors, but I don't know I don't know if that's just a big populous area thing, but I think it's weird that you would actively say, this is where I want to go live, but you don't want to interact with a lot of the people around you. You'd rather just stay in your house. But
I remember where that noise came from. It's my phone.
Yeah.
No, my phone. So the Zoom picks up the phone.
Oh, that's bad news.
Yes.
Okay.
Anyway, Andy Sewell, ladies and gentlemen.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you so much for listening to me talk to Andy Sewell of Audio Ephemera. You can find Andy at audioephemera.com. Also, you can listen to other great conversations by adding this podcast, Podaluma, to your library in your favorite podcast app. In fact, if you found any value in the show at all, I'd appreciate a rating on iTunes if you get a moment, or if you could just mention us to a friend, that would be a big help too. Podaluma is a member of the Podifornia, Northern California Podcast Network. Also, special thanks to Daniel Strobel, host of I'm Not Gonna Lie podcast. Honestly, you'd be better off listening to that podcast than this podcast. And also, I'd like to thank Andy for sitting down. And lastly, Ray's Delicatessen for that very hearty and generous henhouse pour. Thanks for listening and have a great day.
Podifornia.